Very good morning, everyone. So, this after a short break, we are meeting again. This will be our 23rd session on current affairs, which is going on. In the past 22 sessions, for the first 10 sessions, we have done on science and technology. After that, next 12 sessions, we have done on economy. In that, we comprehensively covered the economic survey also from point of view of prelims 23. Now, in this class, we are starting with environment. The first theme we are starting is 100 most important species in use. This will comprehensively cover all the species which is relevant for prelims 2023. All species in use from January 2022 has been included in this. This is part 1 PDF file. You can download this from the Telegram group or website of Kalam IAS. Now in this class, part 1, we will cover it as two classes. So in the first class, we will cover half of this material. Next class, we will be covering next half of this. Let's go ahead. So how you study species in use? What is your approach to studying species? How many questions comes from species usually? Sometimes 2 to 3 questions come. Sometimes directly species question come, like Denisova and what it is. Or sometimes statement question come. This species is from this part of India, like that. Some statement question can come. What else can come? Or maybe a species is there. Exactly species may not be asked. Sometimes the national park that is in it around where it is found, regarding that a question can come. Most importantly, this cheetah relocation is going on. It is not, you cannot say that only cheetah is important, but the national parks where the cheetah is being reintroduced, why it is being reintroduced, all these aspects, geographical location based question can also come. So all this from point of view, this species in use is quite important. Now how you study this? What are the challenges you come across in studying this? Give me some few examples. Covering the length and breadth. Thing is, this is exactly a very broad topic. There is some kind of species in use coming in the Hindu newspaper and other newspapers every now and then. And having a comprehensive list of all 1 year or 1.5 years, which UPSC usually asks, it's quite challenging. Most of the material which we find in the market are sometimes less, or sometimes in a format that you cannot revise it, or you cannot find it from exam point of view, it becomes less relevant. What else? Locations become very factual information. In economy, even though it is tough from conceptual point of view, economy, different understanding, getting the linkages correct between SDF, inflation, foreign exchange, or all this. But still, if you understood the concept, it becomes very clear. But here the conceptual part is very less. Only small part you can apply whichever concepts you know. Rest is huge part of the what we want to learn or what we are going to cover is highly factual component. Now once it is factual, what will happen? There is only one way to study it. You have to revise it many number of times. Whatever is the conceptual element underlying it, we will discuss in the class. That part you have to have some clarity. Why the conceptual part is important? Because in statement comes, most of the time it is not the factual knowledge you might help you. Even if you know a specific species, a question is asked. Now it is not that you exactly know everything about the species. At least if you know this species is from Western Ghats, now you should have the ability to guess if a species is from Western Ghats, what are the different characteristics it can possess, or at least you should be knowing that what are the certain characteristics it should not possess. So this much conceptual clarity you have, it helps in eliminating so much of the option, even if you don't know the exact characteristics of the animal or exact every information regarding the species. So concept helps in, even if you have a partial knowledge, to get the elimination in different statements. In that, from that perspective, the conceptual knowledge or conceptual clarity is quite very much important.
Generally, statement comes whether the species endemic to this place or not.
How you handle it? Endemic species means what? That species is there only in that location. Only very few species are endemic. Rest of the species, some species will be endemic to Western Ghats. Even if you look at the endemic Western Ghats, that's also very low number of, some butterflies will be there, some very small species. If it is a major species, it may not be endemic to this. Nilgiri tahar is there. Like there are only few species which are so much related to this location are only endemic to this. That is one part. Secondly, some species are endemic to Indian subcontinent. Like example, leave it. Asian lion is also now endemic. At least right now it is endemic to only this Gujarat area. So like that, some species are endemic to Indian subcontinent. They may have little broader coverage. Rest all the species only you can make a separate list of whichever species are endemic to 2-3 regions. Only Western Ghats and Northeast and maybe Andaman. These 3 areas will come in this endemic category because these have the highest biodiversity hotspot. So get started. So the first thing we are starting with is different biomes in India. So here you can see there are 16 different types of biomes and broad categorization of different biomes. We are not going to learn all this. If you want to learn all this, you can go for the geography book and get conceptual clarity on exactly where these different biomes are there. This classification is based on basically based on how much precipitation is happening and what is the temperatures. Temperature precipitation graph, you will in geography books you will get a graph in that high precipitation, high temperature, that is tropical regions, low precipitation, then it comes to desert regions, and in between the deciduous, all this. For environment perspective, we are focusing on 5 different biomes. Which are they? First one is tropical rainforest. Second is deciduous forest. Third is grassland type of forest. Forest you can grow, not call, but grasslands. Then you have deserts, then you have alpine tundra type of regions. So these 5 regions or these 5 type of biomes, where they are coming in a rough idea, and what are the different characteristics of species which exist in these 5 different biomes. That is what we are going to see first. Let's get started. The first one, let's start with, let's have a clarity on map first. The first one is tropical rainforest. What is exactly tropical rainforest? More than 200 centimeter rainfall is there, and mostly there is high temperatures. High temperature is there, very high rainfall is there. 200, above 200 centimeter rainfall is there. What are the other characteristics? Mostly the temperature ranges are very low. Like summer and winter temperatures are between 30 to 40 degrees Celsius. In that range, most of the temperatures vary. There is no like sub-zero degree winter, nothing like that is there. And where in India we found this tropical rainforest, the most prominent area is Western Ghats. Why Western Ghats is having this tropical rainforest? One is coastal region. How coastal region helps? In maintaining the temperature. Even though this region and all is come this tropics, near the tropics, still it is having an equatorial like climate. Why? Because the ocean is there, ocean will have a normalizing like of effect. The temperature variation will always remain in a specific range. It will not go beyond that. That is one reason. Second reason, we have this continuous chain of mountains, that is Western Ghats along the western coast of India. What impact it is creating? When this southwest monsoon is coming from this direction, this will act as a barrier to these monsoon winds, so that the rainy side of this, or we can call it as western side of this Western Ghats mountains, will always get all the rainfall. The countries the other side will be leeward side, which will be getting very less number of rainfall. So high rainfall is there, high temperature is there due to this ocean. Both these conditions are met. That's why we have this throughout this Western Ghats region as tropical rainforest, starting from Kerala, Karnataka, Goa, Maharashtra, and till Gujarat. Some parts of Gujarat will also be part of it. Okay, Tamil Nadu will also be there. Now, what else? Where else you can see this tropical rainforest? Next most important part is northeast region. Why this area is having this tropical rainforest? These are all hilly areas, and hilly areas means this have different hills of different heights, and it leads to, we already have the southwest monsoon coming from this Bay of Bengal region. Now when this monsoon is coming, it leads to a funneling effect. There are hills which narrows down the gap between them over a ranges. Now when winds go between them, what will happen? It get, if the monsoon or high moisture laden winds get trapped in this get high, elevation will increase, and this will lead to precipitation in this region. So this is one of the areas of very high precipitation, and of course there is a Bay of Bengal near to this. Temperatures, high elevation is also, only very high elevation comes in this Arunachal Pradesh. Rest of the regions are either plains or having small hills. So the alpine conditions are only there in Arunachal Pradesh. Take the material. No, you keep it. So alpine conditions are only limited to Arunachal Pradesh. Rest of the areas will come under tropical forest type of areas. So northeast is the next major region for tropical rainforest. Third region is Andaman and Nicobar. These are into waters, and so much, there is hills also. Everything related to this peculiar geography supports this tropical rainforest kind of conditions. Now, what are other peculiar characteristics of tropical rainforest?
There are 3 layers of forest.
No, we are not going to too much geography of it. From environment perspective, what kind of plants you can see there? First major characteristics is evergreen forest you can see. Evergreen means?
Different leaves shed their leaves at different point of time.
Yes, like evergreen and deciduous is there. Deciduous, the difference is all the plants, if 100 plants are sitting in a place or standing in a place, 100 plants at the same time shed their leaves. It is seasonal and very specific time period this happens. And at a particular point of time, we'll see all the plants without leaves. In evergreen, plants does shed their leaves, but there is no particular season. Depending on local characteristics, depending on different plants' age and other genetic factors, they shed their leaves depend on different parts of the year. This is what we see in tropical rainforest. So our evergreen forest of tropical rainforest. We call it evergreen because every time we will see some greenery always there present in it. What is second important feature? These are areas of extremely high biodiversity. Why? What biodiversity is depending on what all factors? Water, sunlight, medium temperatures, not extreme, non-extreme temperatures. Everything you associate with life is present here. Not life for human beings, but all other species to exist. Everything what it needs is present in this ecosystem. Temperature is there, rainfall is there, sunlight is there, temperature is within the ranges. All this peculiar soil, you can get organic materials in the soil also, nutrient is there. So everything is coming together in this region. So these are areas of extremely high biodiversity. Now what is canopy layering? Tell me what is canopy layering? That is one of the plant species or plant characteristics you find in this tropical rainforest.
There will be no sunlight because of the canopy.
Layering it is. Canopy layering means there will be trees of 50 meters high. One is trees of 50-meter high, and within the 50-meter you will see different kind of ecosystem where the species distributions. At ground level the sunlight will be very less. So what kind of species you will find there? Plants which are adapted to absorb the diffused sunlight or adapted to grow in even in the shades of other plants. Very low sunlight, even they can absorb and grow in that kind of plants you find it at the ground level. And from above level you find different kind of plants which can stay there, and best example is this epiphytes. What is epiphytes?
They grow on other trees.
Some trees will be there, they will spiral it and grow on this. Difference between epiphyte and characteristic of epiphyte is it only use the tree as a support system. Doesn't take the nutrients and other minerals from the tree, only use it as a support system. These kind of plants you can see throughout in the this tropical rainforest. Why this is happening? Because one, this area is highly biodiversity rich. Secondly, due to this biodiversity rich, this canopy layering is happening. And canopy layering features are these epiphytes, high number of epiphytes and all. So that these small plants otherwise only lay on the ground can also reach higher levels and get more sunlight and grow on this. Broad leaves will be there. Why broad leaves? Because as you go down, the amount of sunlight becomes very less. So plants will adapt to have a broad leaf so that even a diffuse sunlight is available, that get more number of buttress roots. What is buttress roots? What is the peculiar characteristic about soil of this tropical rainforest region? One thing we have told is these areas are having very high rainfall. High rainfall means what will happen? All the minerals will get washed out. So these soils are leached soil, highly leached soil. Highly leached soil means it will be acidic. Still, even a bad soil is there, still there is huge amount of biodiversity existing on it. Why or how it is possible? Usually good soil is required for these plants to grow. But in tropical rainforest conditions, even though a very bad soil is there, highly leached soil, acidic soil is present, still we see very good forest or very huge biodiversity. Why this is happening?
Organic matter it has not.
Thing is, these are regions of high temperatures. High temperatures means what happen? Decomposition of organic matter become very fast. Decomposition of organic matter, dead plants, dead leaves, all these are a function of temperature. If temperature is falling, the rate of decomposition falls. That's why in the extreme conditions in Himalayan, climbers who died 30-40 years ago, their bodies are also being recovered from this Himalayan without much of decomposition. Because temperature are extremely low in these areas and rate of decomposition becomes too slow. On the other hand, in tropics, temperatures are 30-40 degrees Celsius and decomposition become very fast. Now there is soil which is not so good, decomposition happens, then this decomposed material is having high nutrient rich material. These materials are readily absorbed by the plants and other ecosystem. So this process is continuing. Even though soil is not so good, this decomposition is happening so quickly and these decomposed nutrients are being reabsorbed by these plants and other species. So this cycle is going on and that's why we can find that even though soil is not that great, you will still find very rich biodiversity in these areas. So to absorb nutrients from this, what you want? You don't need very deep roots. Deep roots किधर चाहिए? The water is not, the nutrients is at a very low level. So there you need deep roots. Here you want something like a bushery roots, so that it goes to the ground, not deep, depth, the coverage will be more and it can get more nutrients from this. So that kind of roots will be available here. So all these points we discovered. What about the animals in these regions? Most of the animals will be arboreal. What is arboreal? They can live mostly on plants. They can still spend most of their lifetime on the trees and all. Monkeys, all this comes in arboreal. Camouflage, what is camouflage? Like stripes in this tiger. They hide inside these similar green color plants so they will not be caught, they will not be seen. All these features you can find in nocturnal means active at night. Why animals prefer to be nocturnal?
Because it is said that they can see very clearly at night.
Vision can be one factor, but most important factor is temperature. Those animals who cannot hunt or cannot withstand the high temperatures of the day, they become more active at the night because temperatures are low and that suits them, their metabolism and their mechanism. So these are some list of major animals which you find in this tropical rainforest: Bengal tiger, Asian elephant, rhinoceros, sloth bear, giant squirrel, lion-tailed macaque, Indian pangolin, Malabar hornbill, etc. Many of these are not fully limited to tropical rainforest. Deciduous forest also you will find tigers and elephants and all.
Yeah, that region is it also Bengal called Bengal type?
Snow leopard and all is there in Russia, right? Snow leopard is there. This has to be checked. This has to be checked. Snow leopard has very broad range, like throughout the Central Asian countries, including Russia. And tiger is, that has to be checked whether it is there in Russia or not. So that is all about tropical rainforest. Next important part is, one more thing is, in question if a new species is asked, at least if you can identify this species is an insect or a butterfly or a spider. If these kind of species are being, new species are being formed, there is very high chance that species is coming from tropical rainforest. From the name of the species, you identify this can be a spider or this can be an insect. Insects mostly are new insects which we found are mostly come from Western Ghats or this Northeast India or Andaman. These three areas are hotspot for these kind of discoveries. Go ahead, what is the next kind of forest? That is deciduous forest. Where do you find this deciduous forest? There is like 150, less than 150, 150 to 200, that kind of a temperature rainfall is there. That rainfall is less than this tropical rainforest. So this will be in this leeward side of Western Ghats. Eastern Ghats, parts of Eastern Ghats will also come in under this. So majorly the Central India, Deccan India, all this area will come under this deciduous forest ecosystem. What is speciality of this? Here the water availability is not that much abundant. Water will be highly seasonal. At specific time you get the water, then there will be a prolonged summer. So plants will have mechanism to, plants as well as animals will have mechanism to adapt to these regions. And what does it mean? And the shedding of the leaves is also a part of, like we already discussed, the deciduous plants will shed their leaves in a particular time of the year. This is also a part of to conserve water, to save their life. If they keep with the leaves open, then these leaves, so much water will evaporate or go out from these and the plant will die. So it's a mechanism to conserve water and keep their life active. So these kind of animals, these kind of mechanism you find in tropical forests or deciduous forest. What about soil characteristics here? Here it is, water is at a normal level, not highly leached like in the tropical rainforest. So here soil is a very rich soil and slow decay of fallen leaves happen. Temperatures are not as high throughout the year. There will be winters with having cold winters. So this decay of this organic matter happens at a normal pace. So that get dissolved within the soil and this enriches the XYZ soil characteristics in these regions. These are found in Central India, Deccan Plateau, Eastern Ghats, Western Ghats, Northeast India and part of it. Leaf shedding we already discussed, that is a part of it. Understory plants, what is it? These are also like shrubs, small height plants. These will not grow too much, like they grow in shades. They doesn't need so much of sunlight or so much of even nutrients also. These kind of plants you will find so much in this deciduous or under the deciduous plants you can see. Hardwood trees. Mostly, what is difference between hardwood and softwood? One thing is, even though tropics area is rich in this lumbering industries because of these plants, rich amount of this teak and other important timber plants which is available. Still this area is not good. Most of throughout the world you look, this area is not good for limbering because two reasons are there. One, these areas are accessing to these areas are very difficult because these trees are already inside deep forest. So cutting the trees, bringing that becomes very cumbersome. Secondly, these are not like uniform trees. This will be not one single category of trees. It complete a region is with that kind of trees. That doesn't happen in tropical rainforest. But in deciduous forest, you can see the whole forest is planted mostly with a certain kind of trees. These kind of characteristics you find in deciduous forest. And hardwood mostly happens in this tropical forest and all. But hardwood are also present in some kind of hardwood, even though in deciduous you mostly expect hardwood and softwood combination. Both these are trees are available in these deciduous. You go higher regions like we discussed alpine, we see that most of the trees there are mostly softwood kind of trees are available. These are major trees available like sal, teak, bamboo, acacia, mahua and cassia. How hibernation, what is hibernation? When winter happens, mostly hibernation we associated with winters. These animals cannot find food or cannot survive with this extreme low temperature atmosphere. So what they do is they shut down their mechanism and sleep for prolonged period, like maybe eight months. There are even this species in this Antarctic and all. This species sleeps for or hibernate for months. So even if not for months, for some period of time, these species hibernate, and that's how they survive these extreme winters. Now, predation and competition are these are most important part of this. Why this happens? One thing is this, even compared to tropics forest again, tropics means what? There is no grass. These are thick forest. But in this condition, deciduous means the forest thickness is not that much. If thickness is not that much, there will be grasses, there will be other low shade, low height shrubs and all everything growing. Now if grasses are there, what will happen? Herbivorous population, deers and all this will be high. If herbivores are there, due to their good conditions, the grasses and all, they eat that and they have a good number of herbivores. And if herbivores are there, the animals which eat them, carnivorous animals like tiger, leopard, all these animals are, they have a good condition, like forests are not thick so they can run and they can have this metabolic activity. Secondly, their prey or their food is available at abundance. So due to these reasons, this cheetah, tiger or whichever leopard or carnivorous animals which we see at the top of this food chain, that will be available in this deciduous forest. Bengal tiger, Indian elephant, Samba deer, Indian leopard, sloth bear, lankur monkey, everything is available at these regions. So now come to the third category, that is grasslands. What exactly is grasslands? What exactly is grasslands? Transition or ecotone, you can say, transition system between deserts and deciduous forest or tropical forest if that is available at these regions. So what is characteristics of temperature? Rainfalls will be slightly less than this deciduous forest also. So what happens with this when rainfall is less than deciduous forest? In deciduous, trees were the defining characteristics of the ecosystem because rainfall was good enough to sustain these trees. Here the rainfall is too less not to sustain even a fully tree based ecosystem. So here the dominant species will be the grasses. India, you can find this in Deccan Plateau, Indo-Gangetic Plain, Western Ghats, Northeast India, parts of Northeast India also. Semi-arid regions, rainfall is limited and temperatures can be very extremes. Winters will be very cool and sub-zero temperatures it can go, and summers also can be very extreme. These kind of climate you find it is mostly in grasslands. Short grasses in Indo-Gangetic plains, elephant grass or bamboo grass in Deccan Plateau. These are different types of grasses that is available. Shrubs, trees will be very less, but still trees will be like acacia tree, dalbergia trees, all these kind of trees will be small height trees will be available in these grasslands. Wildflowers are also a characteristics of this. Adapted for droughts, animals or plants in this region, the important characteristic is rainfall is decreasing. So everything should be adapted to survive in this prolonged period of this. So here if you look at these plants, they will have very deep roots, extremely deep roots. Now in desert ecosystem you see more deeper roots, more deeper than this, because water will be at water table will be at very low, and this plant has to take water and other nutrients from this Grazers like blackbuck, nilgai, chinkara, all this will be very high in these grasslands because grasses are their food and this is available in abundance. Predators, so if grazers are there, predators will also be there, wolf, leopard and all this will be there. And this is also a hotspot of migratory species like Siberian crane, Demoy, Selly crane and all this. Why this is a hotspot of migratory species?
very severe.
Mostly grasslands have water bodies around them, or at least a big grassland is there. Somewhere there is a water body associated with the ecosystem. Some lake will be there, even some rivers, maybe perennial river may be flowing through these. So there is some water body associated with this, and this migratory species, they are dependent, mostly dependent on XYZ water bodies. They breed on these water bodies, nearby water bodies, or their trajectory is based on these water bodies that is existing. One best example is Siberian crane, where it comes, Kalam National Park in Rajasthan. So this is a desert-like ecosystem, not fully desert. This will come under grasslands itself, but that ecosystem is very important because of this lake that is present there.
So the soil of that place, it is something peculiar. It stores water always.
Okay, soil is also stores have the ability to store water for prolonged period. This Koiladio National Park.
Last part of that place is under somewhat water somewhere.
Good, good, good. So the next part is deserts. In India, deserts mostly we associate with the western parts of India, that is Thar deserts in Rajasthan. And what is the peculiar? We are not talking too much about the cold deserts that is in Jammu and Kashmir. Deserts, we, at least from environment perspective, we are limiting it to hot deserts. That is the Thar desert. And what will be the peculiar characteristics of deserts?
0.05.
Yeah. Again, the number of precipitation, amount of precipitation will be decreased. Less than 25 centimeter rainfall will be available in these regions. So what will happen?
Plants will adapt to the conditions.
Summer will temperatures will be extremely high, above 50 degrees Celsius. Arid climate conditions will be. Arid climate conditions means what? The rate of evaporation will be too high. 25 cm rainfall is falling on the region, but the capacity or potential rate of evaporation will be 50 centimeter of rainfall. Even if 50 falls, it will evaporate. So that much, that conditions we call it as arid conditions. This will be happening at these desert regions. In India, you can find it mostly in Rajasthan, Gujarat, parts of Gujarat, Haryana, Punjab, all these are also part of this. Cold deserts is there in Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. Now, plants and animals, everything will be adapted to survive in these extreme conditions. Winters will be extremely cold. Sub-zero temperatures it can go, or 0 degree, 2 degree temperatures it can go. At the same time, normal summers will be above 50 degrees Celsius. So these extremes, every plant has to adapt to these extremes. Succulent plants store water like cactus. What cactus does?
It has basic sort of.
Two adapting system is, one, it has a vexation system, so that water going out will be controlled. Secondly, it has thick stems. All this water will be stored within the stems itself. No open leaves like this is available for this cactus. And deep roots, of course, there will be very deep roots for this cactus. Xerophytes. Xerophytes also the similar adaptations. Plants in this region will have very small leaves. Why small leaves? Because it is how much leaf, if a leaf area, how much it is through this area, open pores will be there, water will be evaporating from this. So more broad the leaves, more water will go. In tropical rainforest, we see plants with broader leaves. Broader leaves because water is in abundance. How much water go, it doesn't matter there, so that much. But in here, we need to conserve the water, so plants will have smaller leaves. Plants you can find in these regions, and those also plants will leaves has the properties of closing down and all. This closing down while it is happening because to conserve the water during unfavorable conditions and all. Nocturnal animals will be, so much animals will be nocturnal. They become active at night because day temperatures are extremely high. Burrowing, what is burrowing? living underground. Why these plant animals are living underground in deserts? Two reasons. One is to escape from the temperature, high temperature. Second is escape from the predators or attacking animals which they attack them for their food and all. Water conservation, different mechanism these animals will be adopting. Now come to the last kind of ecosystem, that is alpine ecosystem or tundra ecosystem. Where it is? Himalayan region. Jammu Kashmir, Uttarakhand, Ladakh, all these regions, to Arunachal, parts of Arunachal Pradesh also. What is peculiar characteristics of this? Here the temperatures, this is above 2000 degree, above this tree line of these Himalayas or hills. So what is the peculiar characteristics? Here temperatures are extremely low almost throughout the year. Now what happens if temperature is low? Decomposition rate of organic matter is very slow. Even if a leaf falls, it will remain as a leaf for long period of time. Now what is the consequence of this? Soil become unfertile or soil become bad. Why? The extra nutrients that is being added into the soil is they are not getting. Most of these remain unneutralized. Second is undecomposed. Now if something is remaining undecomposed for longer period of time, now it's not just plant leaves. You can see whole, if you take the millions of years of evolution, whole plants are growing there, they die after their lifetime and they remain like this there. So these are areas contains huge amount of carbon stock. Permafrost, you find this in Siberia and colder countries, but in Indian high altitude alpine tundra regions are also areas having high stock of carbon stock areas. What else characteristic you can think of? Trees you may find mostly trees in this kind of shape. Why trees are in this kind of shape? Mostly the precipitation here happens not as a rain but snowfall. If tree is having like this kind of a shape, snow may stuck somewhere here and this will break the branches or collapse the whole tree. But this shape helps the snow to fall down and helps the plant to survive even if a big snowfall happens. And most what kind of plants or what kind of trees you can find? Coniferous trees will be a part of this. Let me alpine tundra, above 3500 to 4500 meters altitude, characterized by cold temperatures, high humidity and heavy snowfall in winters. Now coniferous trees are a part of it. Needle-like leaves will be a characteristics of this. Now why needle-like leaves? This is also a mechanism to reduce the water loss and withstand heavy snowfall. Pine trees, spruce tree, fir and cedar, these are all different kind of trees available. Short growing season will be there. Sparse vegetation, mostly low growing plants. Adaptation for cold weather, Himalayan tahar, thick fur will be there, which are animals, even cat, dog, you will find most dogs will be having thick fur, dogs can survive in these cold regions. Snow leopard is having thick fur, most of these animals are having thick fur to withstand the colder climatic condition. Unique feeding habits will be there. Specialty to food on tough fibrous region like grass. If Himalayan musk deer you see, grass like in grassland or deciduous forest is not available. What available will be very like coniferous plant branches and all this. This will be very strong branches. It has to be strong to withstand the snowfall. So these are very strong, and to digest or crush this Himalayan musk deer will have special kind of teeth. So these kind of adaptive mechanism will be adopted by different animals. Terrestrial behavior, let panta solitary animals that defend their territories. Why they are defending their territories? Because nutrients are not that much in abundance. If let everyone to have this, then there will not be enough food for that animal. So animals have this ability to defend their territories and not letting other animals to come into this. This kind of behavior you hardly find in tropical rainforest. Their food and everything is abundant, so animals don't go for this. Nocturnal behavior will be there. Endemic species are also part of it. Himalayan brown bear is an example of this. Go ahead. So these everything what we discussed so far is a very generalistic peculiar characteristics of species or species distribution you find in different 5 type of biomes. Now what you want to do, this next part what we are all discussing is will be solely based on different species and its fact. This species is from this region, this species has this characteristics, its conservation status is this much. That will be discussing from now on. But you have to associate with the different characteristics, different phenomena which we have discussed so far. If I am saying a species is from Himalayan region, then alpine characteristics, what kind of adaptive mechanism it might have adopted. These all things, these all the mechanism or application you should think from here on. In exam also, if a species is coming, question is there, you should at least try to identify where this species is from. Now where this species is from, try to identify those statements which is not in line with what we have discussed or what we are expecting with the ecosystem where this species is living. Go ahead. Now before going into species, one more thing I need to discuss. We will see that Wildlife Protection Act 1972 and IUCN status of these animals. It is very factual information, but we'll use this for almost all these species. So it is very important you have a very fair idea of what this Schedule 1, Schedule 2 means. So in Wildlife Protection Act 1972, 6 different schedules are there. Animals are categorized depending on how much protection should be available to them. We divide species under 6 different schedules. First schedules mean it will be like receives highest level of protection. Hunting, poaching, trade, everything will be completely prohibited. Examples are Bengal tiger, Indian rhinoceros, Asian lions, etc. Second, Schedule 2 means these species are not that much in danger as compared to Schedule 1, but they still require a high level of conservation. So this kind of comes in Schedule 2. They are also highly regulated, their hunting, trading and all. Examples are Indian elephant, wolf, Himalayan black bear, etc. Now Schedule 3 means this doesn't like this much high level of protection is there, some lesser protection, and their like vulnerability will also be lesser compared to Schedule 1 and 2 species. Schedule 4 species means these are interesting species. They are vermin. Their schedule listed in schedules are to be vermin and can be hunted or killed in certain circumstances. Schedule 4 is vermin species. Vermin species means if suppose a animal like crow or fruit bat, this is attacking the vegetation in a region, then government can categorize this species as vermins. If it is categorized as vermin, this can be hunted out. Now who has the right to put an animal under this vermin? Chief Warden of Wildlife. No, it is not. The power of declaring an animal vermin lies with central government. Now central government does this on recommendation of state government. First, state government has to give a recommendation for declaring a certain species as vermin. Then central government has the power under the act to declare that species as vermin. One more thing, a vermin will be declared for Kerala, this species is vermin. Then that is vermin only in Kerala, in that region. Doesn't mean throughout India you can go and hunt that species. So that's all about vermin. Now there is a current affairs related to issues related to vermin. What is it? I think boar. We will see that animal in this later part also. Kerala government requested one species to be declared as vermin, and central government doesn't declare it as vermin. What central Kerala government did is, Kerala government used the powers of other powers under this Wildlife Protection Act and given the right to local authorities to hunt down these animals. And this right is given by this Warden of Wildlife. That right is given through Warden of Wildlife, and the power is given to local authorities. Otherwise, vermin right all relies with central government only. Now Schedule 5, these animals can be harmed without permit. Scientific management purpose, you have to capture an animal, you have to study that animal. These kind of animals will come under Schedule 5. Now what is Schedule 6? That is for plants. Conservation of plants, protected plants will come under Schedule 6. Now similarly, IUCN, depending on threat level the species is facing, we have how much? 9 different categories of IUCN categories. How much it is? Okay, 9 different categories. The first one is not evaluated. That means that species information even not considered for IUCN XYZ. Data deficient means there is not enough data to exactly say what is the threat level. Least concern means it is not facing a risk of extinction. Least there will be, if it is not having an extinction risk, there will not be any active conservation programs for this. Near threatened, there are 4 basic things which you will find. Depending on these, you define or categorize these animals into near threatened, vulnerable, endangered, and critically endangered. And 4 factors are population reduction rate, range where it is found, population size, and population fragmentation. Population reduction rate means how much, like in 3 generations, if population declined by 20 to 30%, then it is restricted to 20,000 to 2 million square kilometers area. Then population size is less than 10,000 individuals. And fragmentation, it is only found in areas between 2 to 10 regions in the world. This is the criteria for declaring an animal as or species as near threatened. Now, if it is vulnerable, the criteria become more stringent, like 30% decline over last 3 generations, 20,000 square kilometer will be the area. Fewer than 10,000 mature individuals are all available, and 2 to 10 area, fragmented area, this species is being found. Then if there is extreme fluctuations in the population size also, we call it as vulnerable species. Now in endangered, 50% population reduction in last 3 generations, 5,000 square kilometer will be the area where there will be found, and population size less than 2,500 mature individuals, and 1 to 5 areas only you find this population. So this will be for endangered. Critically endangered is the highest level, 80% population reduction in last 3 generations, 100 square kilometer will be the area, 250 less than 250 mature individuals will be there, and occurs at 1 or 2 locations only. This species we call it as critically endangered species. Now we have extinct in wild, means natural habitat, this species has become extinct. Only in zoo or in captivity this animal is currently unavailable. Extinct means even in captivity this animal is available, this is totally not available throughout the earth or throughout the ecosystem. So these are 9 categories. What you want to learn here is, you don't need to exactly remember every numbers and all this, but go through this 1-2 times. If some statement is framed based on this, you should at least have to identify the wrong statement in it or extreme statement associated with this. At least remember what is there for critically endangered. 250 mature species only, less than that, then we call it as critically endangered species. So that's all for now. From next class we will start with different species. Thank you so much.